JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. Want to give you an update related to the infrastructure bill, technically the HR 3684 bill out of the Senate. It was put to the House like any other bill to then vote on to see if it would become something to move forward to the president's desk to then put into law. As I've reported to you in the past, the House had set to vote on this bill on Monday, September 27th. When we hit that date, it was then moved that they would vote for it on the 30th of September. Now we're into October. It did not get to the floor of the House for a vote. It doesn't mean, though, that it won't be coming to the floor for a vote here shortly. Why do we care about this? Well, two reasons. One, in the infrastructure bill that we're talking about here that has passed the Senate, 67 senators did vote for it, which means it's bipartisan, but in that, it kills PPP. Why does that matter? I'll tell you in a second. Also in the infrastructure bill, the second thing is that it kills the employee retention tax credit on September 30, meaning the end of last month. Right now, the current law is that the employee retention tax credit goes through the end of the year. Why do both of these things matter? Well, these are the last of stimulus for small business owners. On the PPP, yes, it did end at the end of May 31st. Yes, all the money that was in the PPP program was, in essence, given out. However, the House committee regarding this program has indicated that there is about $87 billion estimated in fraud money that would be coming back into this program. Also, money coming back into this program will be for those that have to repay it. Not everybody is getting forgiveness of their PPP. So money is going back into the Paycheck Protection Program as we speak. When the government puts a program into play, creates a fund, that is all that money can then be used for. Once the money goes back in, if the plan, the Paycheck Protection Program, if that program, that fund, that plan has been killed, as indicated in the infrastructure bill, then that money would go to other purposes. The purpose would be what? Towards the infrastructure bill monies needed. So this is not a video against the infrastructure bill. This is a video indicating that in the infrastructure bill, they need to remove the line item that permanently rescinds the Paycheck Protection Program. That's what it specifically states. The reason we'd want it to maintain and keep, the reason we want to keep the PPP program alive is that as money goes back into it, the government would then have to use it for the same purposes of helping small businesses, which then would lead to PPP 3, if you will. The employee retention tax credit, if you're not familiar with it, I'm going to put a link in the body of this video talking about what this is, how you calculate it. I do have a seminar that you can get instant access to. I'm also going to give you a link to a video about PPP 3 where I expand on this that I'm telling you about right now in further detail. But with the employee retention tax credit, that's estimated to be about $8 billion that would be a credit for those taking advantage of it in fourth quarter. This is for small business owners that have employees. This is a 70% of payroll tax credit. No more than $10,000 per employee in terms of wages that you get to include, but that means that it's up to a $7,000 tax credit per employee. This is a tax credit that's refundable, money back to the business owner. We need and want this to just continue as is. The infrastructure bill ends at September 30. We want that removed from the standpoint of an advocacy for small business owners that need this tax credit. If your gross receipts are down by at least 20% in third quarter 2021 compared to third quarter 2019, you heard that correctly. You're comparing 2021 to 2019. If you're down at least 20%, you qualify for fourth quarter. You also can qualify for fourth quarter, assuming it stays alive, if your gross receipts are down fourth quarter 2021 compared to fourth quarter 2019. So there's two ways to qualify. There's many small business owners that their business is down at least 20% in third quarter of 2021. So they then automatically qualify for the employee retention tax credit for fourth quarter 2021. If you're not familiar with this, you are literally missing the boat. You are literally being misled that this is not something that applies to you if your gross receipts are down, because you don't have to be otherwise closed or affected in any other way. It's just based on gross receipts being down. But it's your entire payroll for the entire quarter if you're 500 employees or less, and you get to include all the employees. And it's up to $10,000 in wages, including health insurance paid by the employer, that gets to be included in the tax credit. And then it's 70% of that. So if you, as a business owner, have employees and no employee makes more than $10,000 a quarter, then all of your payroll, assuming 500 or less employees, all of your payroll plus the employee portion or employer paid portion of health insurance, all of that times 70%, you're getting that money back. This adds up. Do a quick math. Pull out the calculator on your phone. What's your monthly payroll times 3? That's what it is in a quarter times 70%. That's potentially the credit you're looking at. Credit as in money coming back to you. This is vital to continue. The PPP. Many were unable to get PPP. Either it ran out before they got to it, or most notably the Schedule C filers that got it based on their net income, line 31, were not able to then go back and use the new calculation that came into play around the first week of March of this year that allowed the Schedule C filer to get PPP based on their gross income, line 7, which would significantly give more to the self-employed individual. Nonetheless, we want two things removed from HR 3684. Not have it permanently rescind PPP and not end the employee retention tax credit September 30. We need to keep these things alive for small business owners. Now, a lot of play is going on in the DC right now because there's the budget. They're extending to make sure the government stays open. We have a debt ceiling vote basically to increase the debt ceiling so that, quote unquote, our country doesn't go bankrupt. Of course, you know they're going to increase the debt ceiling. You also know they're going to keep doing what they do to keep the government going. There's a $3 trillion bill that's on the table related to programs for around the country, which is going to significantly change our tax structure or our tax picture, our tax outlook, however you want to term that. It'd be the biggest tax change in a generation. And then there's also this infrastructure bill, which is a little over $1 trillion. So a lot of things are going around in Washington. What can you do about it? If you will just tweet and tag your senator or your congressperson, more notably your congressperson, put a Facebook post out there or re-share some of the posts that I have, or send a letter or an email or contact by phone your congressperson and just simply tell them you don't want the employee retention tax credit to end early. You want it to end 12/31/2020 like the law dictates right now, and you don't want PPP permanently rescinded. Now, in the body of this email, I'm going to give you a link to a couple of different articles related to this. I'm going to give you easy, suggested, but technical language, if you'd like, that when you're communicating with your congressperson or senator, that you would be able to include specifically what we're talking about, which is the specific line item in this bill. Yes, it's all technical, but that's the laws. They're technical. They need to be told specifically. So in my mind, as America's CPA, I'm looking out for the small business owner. The infrastructure bill and the other bill, whatever that's being called, they're saying it's for social programs, whatever. I'm not saying those are bad or good. What I'm saying is there are still plenty of small business owners out there that need future PPP that would be available if they didn't get rid of the program with the money going back into it. And there are plenty of small business owners that need to take advantage of the employee retention tax credit and in essence get that money back to help with the payroll. That ends at the end of this year. We have no outlook of help for small business owners in anything related to the stimulus going into 2022. So let's at least keep alive the last two things that continue to help the small business owner. All right, hey, if you made it to here, I bet you're a subscriber. If not, I'm a practicing CPA, 28 years of experience, and I appreciate you tuning in. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.